All right, so read number 4. What were we given? Position, velocity, or acceleration? We were given velocity, and it is t times cosine of t. So it says then, it's always, what did they give me? What are they asking for? Because they gave you velocity. For what values is the particle moving upward? That means moving in the positive direction. So we want where velocity is positive. That's what we want. Moving in the positive direction, moving upwards. It could be moving to the right or moving forwards. They said upward, but we want where velocity is positive. I would again do a number line. However you think through it is up to you. Now they already gave us velocity, so we don't have to do a derivative or anything, but I do need to split this into the two factors that we've got. We have t and we have cosine of t. So I'm going to make number lines for both of those so we can see where the overall sign is positive. And again, if they give you a window, like I tend to cap that. Do you see how this is 0 to 5? So I'm going to make it start at 0 and end at 5. Just because if you don't do that, sometimes you'll say like to infinity or something when it actually stops at 5. Right? So for times bigger than 0, if you plug in any number bigger than 0 to t, it's gonna be positive. So that's positive the whole way across. So that really kind of becomes like not even important at that point. Now we're gonna need to think about cosine. This comes back to your unit circle. So what are your up, down, left, right values? Like what's the one at the top? Pi over 2. Good. And then the next one, pi. And then the next one. Now I stopped there. How would you figure it out without a calculator? Pi is about 3, right? 3 times 3 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, which is smaller than 5. If you go beyond that to 2 pi, 2 times 3 is 6, that would be beyond the window. So if you're like, hey, how'd you do it without a calculator? Just think of pi as 3, okay? Now, I'm going to draw a little unit circle. I need you guys to stick with me here. Is cosine x or is cosine y? X. Between 0 and pi over 2, is the x value positive or negative? Positive. You go to the right. Between pi over 2 and pi, that's this part. Your x value is negative. Between pi and 3 pi over 2, negative. And then between 3 pi over 2 and like, it wouldn't make it the whole way. It would like stop there, but your x value would be positive. Okay. I forgot what the question asked. At this point, usually once I work that out, I'm like, what did they ask? Okay, we want where velocity is positive. So that's from where to where? 0 to pi over 2, union 3 pi over 2 to 5. And again, you don't have to do a number line. That's not a requirement. And if you can figure it out without doing that, more power to you. I just can't. So that's my 2 cents. All right, and then it says write an expression for acceleration. What rule do you need? Product rule. How does product rule start? All right, the first one, which is t, derivative of cosine negative sine plus the second one times derivative of the first, which would just be 1. And they didn't ask us to plug anything in, so that's it. It said write an expression for acceleration, that's it. It didn't say find a of 3 or anything, so we're done. All right, number 5, read it. Did they give us position, velocity, or acceleration? They gave position. So in letter A, when they say find the velocity, you have to actually find the velocity and then plug in 2, because they didn't give you velocity, you have to find that. So what is your velocity function? 3t squared plus 4t. 1 is a constant, so that's gone. And then plug in 2. So 2 squared is 4 times 3, 12 plus 8 would be 20. What are your units? feet per second. B says how long, so your answer should be a time, like your answer should be t equals whatever seconds, right? How long does it take for the velocity to reach 4 feet per second? So you're going to take your velocity function, this 3t squared plus 4t, and set it equal to 4. Welcome back to Algebra 2 class, or pre-calc. We do this in pre-calc as well. Do what? What do I call that? Evacuate. Good. Minus the 4. And then factor it. Good. Now, one might come out positive and one might come out negative. If you get a negative one, you dismiss it. We don't do negative time. Or you might get 2 positive answers. It just depends on what you get. So 3t and t. 4 could be 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. I feel like this one might be 2 and 2. Yeah, because you would want positive 6, negative 2. All right, so we get time 2/3 seconds. And then that one would be time negative 2, you get rid of it. You just dismiss that answer. So this is the only answer you get.
Why do you dismiss them?
We don't have negative time.
Oh.
All right. Karen, spelled with a C. Karen with a C here rides her bicycle along a straight road from home to school. Straight road. If you're trying to imagine this, like in your imagination, it's a straight road. Okay. What is this the graph of? You got to read through. Is it position, velocity, or acceleration? Velocity. Do you remember the hot air balloon one we did? And the graph started up here, but the balloon actually started on the ground. The fact that it started up there. Here, let's talk about this one. For all this positive motion, she goes forwards. And then for this part, she goes backward, back towards home. And then, oh, what's going on here? She stopped. And then for all of this part, she moves. So forwards, backwards, stopped. So what do you think happened? If she went forwards and then went backwards and then stopped. Yep. Okay, good. You know it before they're even going to ask. All right. Oh, well, I guess that's part B. Find the acceleration. Now, if they gave velocity and we want acceleration, we're going to have to do what? I can't do a derivative of just a graph, though. So derivative means, so yeah, because I can't take a derivative of a graph, right? So we're going to do slope at 7.5. So here's 7.5. Now, I realize the slope at that part looks like -1, down 1 over 1, but you have to look at the scale of the thing. So it's actually -0.1. Do you guys see that there? I know that's like a subtle thing, but -0.1. Now I need units for an acceleration. Now her velocity was miles per minute. So this will be miles per minute squared. All right. Shortly after leaving home, Karen realizes she left her calculus homework at home. Bummer. She returns to get it. When did she turn around? Time what? Time 2 minutes. Now they ask for an explanation because. So why'd you pick that? It's when velocity does what? Changes, or you could say changes from positive to negative or changes sign. So because velocity changes from positive to negative there. You can't say it. You have to say velocity. I hate to tell you, and again, I'm not trying to be hateful. They will not give it to you if you say it. And the reason why I actually do kind of agree with it, if you say it, did you mean position, velocity, or acceleration? Because there's those 3 things going on. So if you say it, it's not clear. You have to say velocity and blah, blah, blah. All right. Now this is free falling objects. That means gravity is pulling them down. I put this on here because it's true. You don't have to memorize that though. If you want to do physics, you can go to that hallway over there. We're just going to do mathematics in here. Okay. So I wrote it on there because it's true, but you don't have to memorize that. Are we all clear? But have a lot of you seen that from physics, the -32 and the negative? Do you do the -9.8 in physics mostly? Oh, okay. You look so thrilled. You're like, it just rolled around. All right. Number 6. Suppose a ball is dropped. If it was dropped, does it have an initial velocity? No, there was no oomph behind it. You just let go. You just dropped it, okay? From 20 feet above the ground. So do you see how there's a plus 20? That's because it started 20 feet above the ground. That's your initial position. All right, so find the height of the ball after 1 second. What are we gonna do? Plug in 1. You just want position at 1. That is not even calculus, all right? That would give you 4, was this one feet or meters? I think this one was feet, right? Feet. So find the height of the ball after 1 second, 4 feet. Find the velocity after 1 second. All right, well, you're gonna have to find velocity first and then plug in 1. Would you expect velocity to be positive or negative? Why negative? Going down, okay? So what is your velocity function? Negative 32 feet, and if you plug in 1, negative 32 feet per second. Thank you. And you can go ahead back to, was Jim, right? Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. All right, yeah, I will, go ahead. When will the ball hit the ground? All right, if it is on the ground, how many feet in the air is it? 0. Do you set position equal to 0 or velocity equal to 0? It's position, all right? Negative 16 t squared plus 20 equals 0. Follow up, if you set velocity equal to 0, that would give you when the particle is at rest, meaning not moving. All right, and then you're just going to do algebra to solve this. So you would subtract 20. Negatives cancel, you would divide by 16. So 20/16 would be 5/4. And then square root. So square root of 5 is just square root of 5. I don't know what that is without a calculator. Square root of 4 is 2 seconds. Technically plus and minus, but we don't do negative time. So that's the time. Follow up, what is the speed at that moment? We're going to use velocity, but because it said speed, what do you do to it? Okay, absolutely. I'm just going to turn it positive, right? So velocity at that time, square root of 5/2, whatever that is, you're going to multiply that by negative 32, but actually you can just treat it like positive 32. So it'll be 32 times that. 32 divided by 2 would be 16. So if you want to be really particular, 16 square root of 5 feet per second. Yeah, I would just leave it. Yeah. Well, it depends on if it's multiple choice or free response. Because if it's multiple choice, you have to keep going until you get an answer. I'm going to fill in the last one and you can check it if you would like to. I think that's enough. I would like for you guys to have time to do the matching activity in your Delta Math. So I'll fill that out and post it.